What's up, guys? Week 15. I thought at some point Baker Mayfield would cool off, but he just hit us with one of his best performances of the year again. And 15 weeks into the season, it kind of seems like Baker Mayfield is just really, really good. Another A-plus game, and this time against the best defense in the NFL, depending on how you like to count these things. Some people use PFF, some people use DVOA. You know, legacy media types tend to want to use points allowed, and the Chargers don't allow any points until Baker and company dropped 40 on them. And it was mostly without their star running back, Bucky Irving. He had a couple nice runs, but he's banged up, so they couldn't give him volume. And Rachaad White's not the answer. So Baker had to do a lot of it with his arm, and boy, did he. Now, he should have been picked off twice, and he was picked off one time. He wasn't perfect. But when the highs are that high and that frequent, and you're accurate on over 80% of your passes, you're allowed to make a couple mistakes. So, the good, the bad, and the ugly, let's dig into it. There's also going to be a lot of Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator of the Chargers, analysis. His play designs are exquisite, and they tricked Baker a couple times, but between excellent arm talent and some creativity, Baker Mayfield was able to navigate it really well. So, without further ado, to the film. Bucs are going to get it started with some really nice processing by Baker Mayfield. I mean, he looks locked in mentally from the get-go. So here, you can see he gets to his first read, Mike Evans at the bottom. He even checks the running back beneath. Gets to his second or third read, Cade Otton, the curl at the top of the screen. But while he's checking that, he notices that his fourth read is wide open. Solid throw. Right? It's a little further downfield than a typical solid throw, but it's wide open. The real impressive part of this play is just the processing to get through. Right, and as you can see here, like it is pretty damn open. Here they're going to run the Kevin Stefanski special, a little play action right, boot left, throw to the tight end in the flat. Baker Mayfield and Kevin Stefanski used to spam this play back in Cleveland. And it's a really good play. Always gets you like 5 to 10 yards yak, and Baker Mayfield is uniquely good at throwing while rolling to his left because of his excellent arm talent. Speaking of excellent arm talent, yikes. So right here, play action, first things first, you're going to look at the backup tight end at the 30-yard line, and you're going to think, dude, just throw the ball. Like, it would be easy, it would be routine, it would be 5 yards, keep you ahead of the sticks. But Baker Mayfield does a really nice job of noticing Cade Otton's going to be wide open on this corner. And I have a perfect triangle to place the ball into. And it's a little miscommunication, right? Otton's going to slow up and try to catch this as a jumper when he should have just continued his route all the way through. But either way, it's an inaccurately thrown ball. Let's show you the tight copy, and you can see just how badly Baker missed. This is great processing. It's a great understanding pre-snap of what you're going to get, right? Because Baker made the decision pre-snap that he's not just going to take what's given on the curl. He thinks he can get more. It's just a poor throw, and that happens. Here's a little quick game to Mike Evans. Routine, nothing to it. Barely need to see it. This play is going to be fun, and I'm going to diagram it for you. First, I'll let you see it one through. Touchdown, Jalen McMillan. The throw is solid, might even be great. It's an accurate deep ball for sure. But what's really awesome about this play is the design. This is a Liam Cohen touchdown, less than a Baker Mayfield touchdown. So, as you can see, they do this little return motion from Rachaad White. When he moves, it kind of tells you what to expect from the secondary and the defensive play call. Let me diagram the receivers real quick, though. Evans is running a little slant, and Sterling Shepard is running a corner on the backside. Corner on the backside is kind of a safe call, right? Because a corner basically works against anything except for cover 3, maybe not cover 4. But the idea is, again, it's typically an advantage to the receiver because you're going to get outside leverage. And against one-on-one coverage, which it almost always is to the back corner of the end zone, you got an advantage as well. Now, Cade Otton's going to kind of cheat If you're an offensive-minded person, you call this a pick play. If you are objective or a defensive-minded person, this is offensive pass interference. His job is to run a quote-unquote curl, but really what he's doing is he's just making sure that this corner never gets to switch off of him and get onto a different wide receiver, rather. And if he's really, really good at it, he might even kind of screen off this corner from passing someone. So the real crux of the play is just going to be Jalen McMillan coming up, faking like he's going to run some kind of a hitch, and running a nice wheel fade. Right? He's going to try to get to the end zone on like a big swooping motion. Front corner of the end zone, that is. So here, Rachaad White's going to do that return motion, right? And you can see when he moves, the safety shifts down, and that slot corner kind of alters his stance. He kind of twitches. I hope, Baker realized that this was going to be man coverage with a single high safety because that safety shifts down. Because this play is built to destroy single high man coverage. And with all these people at the line, Baker might have just thought, dude, they got to be blitzing. This has got to be 0 or maybe cover 1. He's a little bit wrong, but he's still right. Let me show you what the defense actually does. The defense is going to be playing man coverage with a single high safety, and that middle linebacker, Deion Henley, is going to drop out almost a little bit like a robber. But you'll see how, right, K. Dotton's taking this defender away, and he's kind of walling off this defender right here who's supposed to guard McMillan, the primary receiver. This corner is being taken directly away from the play with Mike Evans. Obviously, the opposite side is doing nothing. And then this safety is going to have his eyes to the top of the screen because he's looking at Sterling Shepard running this corner, which technically cover 1 is vulnerable against. So he's definitely going to play the middle of the field just in case. It's brilliantly designed, and it works out just perfectly. Listen, I'm not sure Baker knew off the jump that this was going to be cover 1 in the way that it was. I think that he imagined there was going to be a blitz because of this mug linebacker. And because he thought it was a blitz, he probably assumed it was cover 1 or cover 0. Sometimes you get the answer right without showing all your work. Let's run it one more time and see the majesty of Liam Cohen's design. It works to perfection. Right? Just like I said, K. Dotton picks off not only his defender, but the other defender inside of him. It's a... pause. But no, it's a beautiful play design. Routine throw to Mike Evans. I've already gone too long diagramming nice plays on the first drive. The Bucs are going to score 40 points in this game, so I guess I got to get through it, right? Another routine throw. This is a classic quick slant where from the broadcast angle or even the wide copy, it looks like it's a real tight window and a great throw, but really they're the easiest throws in football. Right? Receiver's wide open. He's got underneath leverage. He's got inside leverage. He's got separation. Just because of the parallax angle of the broadcast and wide cameras, you don't see that. Now this is a nice throw. Nice hole shot into triple coverage, kind of, right? Like Baker finds a nice triangle in the cover 4. Right? You can always tell it's cover 4 because you get this little 3-leaf clover in the middle of the field. And then at least at the bottom of the screen, which is always your primary read because that's where Mike Evans is going to run a little button hook, right? He's going to fake like he's going to run a streak and then come back on the hook. That takes Christian Fulton out of the play. And then Sterling Shepard's going to run this little hook curl. It's not a button hook, right? It's more like a slant and curl. And he's just kind of going to see there's a triangle between these 3 defenders, and it's cover 4. And he's going to know that because it's very obviously middle of field open, 2 safeties high, and the corners are off on the outside, which is a nice hallmark of cover 4. Cover 4 is also a staple of this Chargers defense. So you're going to see that nickel defender, linebacker, and safety, there's a triangle in there, run to the middle of the triangle and stop. And that's exactly what he does, and it works perfectly. I think Sterling Shepard's had a pretty nice year. Nice little career resurgence with Baker. Great chemistry. Really good throw, solid throw. The Bucs is a it's a juggernaut offense, man, and this is technically the best defense in the NFL. Another clean pocket. Baker throws a strike. Solid throw. Good hands by Jalen McMillan. Baker was slightly behind him, so McMillan had to adjust. It's not a perfectly placed ball like Baker typically does throw, but it's a well enough placed ball. Right, if Baker leads him a little bit, you probably get 5 more yards after the catch, and it's probably an easier catch for a receiver whose hands are highly suspect. But Jalen McMillan played well today, and God forbid he comes on and becomes a real wide receiver for this team. The Bucs will be dangerous. Another screen. It doesn't end up working, but I love the idea of just having 3 tight ends creating a wall, trying to block. And I think it's really cool that the Chargers, being a very smart defense, number 45 there is Tui Tuipulotu. He's a defensive end. Sometimes he even plays defensive tackle in nickel packages. And when they see 3 tight ends out here in a diamond formation, they're like, oh, that's a screen. Send one of our most athletic defensive linemen out there. He'll bust this, right? So his plan is to basically just ram as hard as he can into the up man, the foremost tight end. Ram into him, take away the block, and then I have 3 defenders on 1 receiver. It's just really, really well designed. On both parties, right? Like, I like the screen design. I love the defense. That's fucking chess right there. That's great football. Here, Baker does some of his magic, right? Drops back, top of the drop. Who's open? Kinda Mike Evans, but probably not, because you see this safety kind of charging down, right? So Mike Evans is kind of double covered. Maybe if you're really early and throw really hard, you can hit that curl, but it's not worth the risk at the goal line. So Baker breaks out of the pocket, kind of breaks a tackle in doing so. It's a plus pocket movement either way. And then he runs, and basically he's trying to play a high-low game with Rachaad White. Rachaad White never really figures out what the hell to do, so Baker never has a passing outlet, and then it just becomes Baker trying to run. It's a neutral run. It's a plus pocket movement. It's 3rd down. He doesn't get the touchdown, but he gets down to the 3-yard line, and he doesn't turn the ball over. Live to fight another day. That's fine. That's why it's a neutral run. Here, this is bad. And it's purely a matter of Baker missed the throw. Right? There is absolutely nothing wrong with the processing. The idea is perfect. Mike Evans is wide open. All right, McMillan's going to run the clearing flag route, post-flag route. Evans is running the dig underneath. It's a perfect combo. It works exquisitely. It's all wide open. But it doesn't matter when you throw the ball way behind. If Baker leads Mike Evans, you've got at least 20 yards on your hands, and shit, I mean, that could be damn near a touchdown. It's at least a big chunk, and Baker just misses the throw. That's a pickable throw, and it's purely because of ball placement. Most interceptions are about decisions. This one's about accuracy. See the ball just behind? Bad ball. One of 2 pickable throws that Baker will commit in this game, which is crazy because he got an A+ despite 2 pickable balls, which is really tough and shows how perfect he was otherwise. Here's a routine throw, nothing to talk about. This is another pretty routine throw, right? Looks at the left, doesn't like what he sees. Fair enough. Hits the curl anyway. Routine throw. It's nice 10 yards downfield, but nobody was there. It was easy. This is almost some Baker magic. So play action, top of the drop right here. This is where Baker is supposed to be starting to survey the field, and he's already being hit. So this is an immediate quick pressure. It's a complete and total failure by Ben Bredeson, the left guard. He was terrible yet again. Baker spins out of the first tackle, and right here, if he can just set his feet, he's got Jalen McMillan over the middle, right at that logo, and he's going to break open over the middle of the field. But Baker can't get set because he gets swarmed immediately again. It's a no-fault sack for sure, and it's a plus pocket movement. Follows it up with a nice routine throw. Mike Evans does a sick job of getting away with some pushing off like a veteran does. Runs 10 yards up the field, kind of shoves to create some separation, breaks in on a very gentle slant. Routine throw. Maybe even solid. It was a very tight window. There's a routine throw on the comebacker. That's the Joe Burrow special, that little hook out. This ball stinks. Not because Baker Mayfield threw it poorly, but because Jalen McMillan strikes again. You'll see, kind of gets tipped. Yeah, you know what? Revising, this is not a solid throw. This is a bad throw. Ball gets batted by Deion Henley. Great play by Deion Henley. Baker needs to be a little earlier with this throw. Lead the receiver a little bit more. Right, throw it a little further inside. A little further towards the logo. Then it doesn't get batted. Hits the receiver in the gut. That's a bad ball by Baker Mayfield. It is not a drop by Jalen McMillan. The throw actually does stink. I had a little bit of a hard time deciphering that on the broadcast angle, but seeing it on the tight copy, it's very clear. Great job of breaking out of the pocket, and look at Baker take off, right? And, you know, you don't like to see runs where there are easy passes open, but here there's nobody open. Baker does the work, I believe, on third down. Yes, 3rd and 5, pick up a 20. Nice. Great play. Nice job stepping up in the pocket, and there's your pickable throw number 2. Right? I see what Baker sees. I understand the instinct to throw deep there. He gets played. He gets absolutely played by the cornerback. I will break it down for you in just a second. He's lucky that's not picked off. That's a pickable ball. So the eventual target is obviously Mike Evans on this little corner route. Ooh, that is a terrible arrow at the top. Much better. And the decoy route to the outside, because it's just a high-low read, is going to be Sterling Shepard on an inside hook. Now, the problem is that this is what Baker thinks he has. He thinks he has cover 2, right? And you can see how he'd be confused with the 2 high safeties. I'm going to run the play for a little second, even though it's going to look messy. See right here where that corner at the top, the very top corner on Sterling Shepard, he bites down? That's what makes Baker think, oh, it's definitely cover 2. That's the problem. That corner taking that half step up like he does right here, that's when Baker says, oh, I got the touchdown to Mike Evans on the corner. Issue, this in blue is what Baker actually is facing. Cover 4, which means that he's trying to throw a corner into double coverage with a safety ranging over the top who's ready to step up on the ball and a corner underneath who's ready to drive on a ball. So really, there's no possible way to throw this ball to Mike Evans. Baker gets fooled, and if he would have just recognized that this is cover 4, he would have thrown the hook to Sterling Shepard, gotten an easy 5 to 10 yards, and he would have probably scored a touchdown on this drive. Instead, that jab step by the corner fools Baker. Right here, he's already letting the ball go. He thinks he's got it. He does not got it. It's not even an accurate ball, too. That's the worst part, is like, even if he had the cover 2 that he thought he had, still not a good throw. Pickable ball. Baker gets fooled. He's been fooled like that a few times this year. Right? Corners stepping up. Because of the quick rhythm of this offense, Baker has to make really quick decisions. And anytime he's even a little bit wrong, if he's throwing to the second level, it leads to pickable ball opportunities. It's a really difficult offense to operate because of that, but you got to be better. No matter, Bucs get the ball back, 2nd down, 5-yard routine throw over the middle, tight window. That's nice. Here, Baker has a muddy but well-protected pocket. Right, like right here, personally, I'm throwing that ball up to Evans. I'm just turning whatever route he's running into a sail flag where he just runs to the back pylon at the right corner. And I just say, Mike Evans, you be faster and taller. You go get it. Right? And I place the ball somewhere in this area. And, like, it might not be the route, but Mike Evans is already headed that way, and he's Mike Evans. He could track a football. That being said, I understand. Baker breaks away, evades a couple sacks. That's 2+ pocket movements. He should have got sacked twice. And he throws the ball away. Kicked a field goal, take the lead, yay. Actually, I don't even think the Bucs took the lead there. Another screen, not well designed today. Baker making checks at the line. I love watching Baker operate out of empty. It's certainly how he's best at football. Here he doesn't trust his protection, and that's not good. But Then he makes a hell of a play to Mike Evans for a long 57-yard touchdown, right? Motions the running back out, notices something, says, hey, guys, we're getting pressure here. Alters the mic. He's right. They do get pressure. It's a sim blitz. I'll explain in a moment. Rolls out. Just a perfect ball. Just a perfect ball. I graded this a great throw with 2+ pocket movements. And let me diagram exactly how the play was supposed to look and what Baker did with it. This time we're going to start with the defense. Right? So it looks like, off the bat, we're probably going to get 5 rushers. And that's why Baker was making those checks at the line. Here's the issue. Number 48, is that Bud Dupree? Is going to drop out into coverage. And so actually, despite the fact that it looks like a pressure, right? You've got a linebacker blitzing, so it feels like it's a blitz, but it's not a blitz. It's just beautifully disguised cover 2, right? So your safeties are going to rotate down, and your outside corners are going to end up playing half-field defense deep. Everything is weird. It looks like it's cover 3. It's actually cover 2. It looks like a blitz. It's actually not a blitz at all. This is incredible design by Jesse Minter, and it fools Baker. The play that's called, like in structure, is actually a perfect cover 4 beater, right? So the intended target should actually be Jalen McMillan on that post route. He's just going to split the safeties against cover 4 or cover 2. And because we've got cornerbacks trying to range deep, right? So like typically safeties would be the 2 deep defenders. It's a much shorter run. Because cornerbacks are coming all the way from the outside of the field all the way back to the inside, that post is actually even more advantageous. But because the coverage is so confusing, Baker doesn't realize what a great advantage he has. He doesn't notice in time, because Baker's a decent processor, but he's not one of the elite ones. He's not like a Justin Herbert, right? He'll notice. He's smart, but he's not brilliant. The outside plays are also designed for cover 4. Remember those little hooking curls that I told you about earlier, where you just find the triangle and you sit in the middle of it? Well, they're running that again, except it doesn't really work because nobody knows where all the defenders are going because they're ranging across the field so much. This involves, this kind of defensive call requires a ton of speed from your defenders, and if it gets sniffed out, if the quarterback understands the rotation in disguise before the snap, you're totally screwed, which is why Tom Brady devastated people who disguised things. But Baker Mayfield's not Tom Brady. So as you run the play, notice Jalen McMillan does get wide open on that post. And if Baker Mayfield right here, instead of bailing, and granted, this is a bad bail. Baker had time in the pocket. He should have stayed where he was and just delivered the strike right down the middle of the field, 25 yards to Jalen McMillan, and he might score a friggin' touchdown if the ball's perfectly placed. Instead, Baker bails, and that's fine. He was confused. But Mike Evans, genius veteran that he is, look at him in the middle of the field waving, he realizes the opportunity on hand. Rather than stopping the way he was supposed to as the play was called, he says, my quarterback's rolling left, I'm rolling left. That's the scramble drill. That's perfect. Run parallel to your quarterback, and Mike Evans does just that. Baker hits him with a dime on the rollout to the left, away from his body, out of structure, completely creating. This is Mahomes and Josh Allen type of stuff. And Mike Evans turns it into a big, long touchdown. So yes, the play as called should have probably rendered a touchdown for the Buccaneers without any, cause for concern, any difficulty. But as it is, Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans used their excellent ability, their physical talent, and their savvy when things break down to create a touchdown that they had previously missed. That play basically broke the game open because from here on, it's smooth sailing. Right, so that's an elite play. It's only a great throw, but it's 2+ pocket movements. Here, Baker making more checks at the line, counteracting a very, very intelligent, tricky Jesse Minter defense. I give Jim Harbaugh a really hard time. He hired a great defensive coordinator. Jesse Minter is going to be a star. He'll probably get a head coaching job. I don't like to hire defensive coordinators, but he kind of deserves it. And remember earlier when I said that against cover 2, you just want to run that post? Here's cover 2. Mike Evans ran that post. Elite ball from Baker Mayfield. Touchdown, deep accuracy, on point. Perfect placement, 40 yards away from the launch point. That's arm talent. Ball gets there in a flash, right? Perfect. Literally couldn't have practiced it any better. And that's going to be game. Right at this point, you got a few more throws, but the game is effectively over. Like, that's another really good throw by Baker. It's perfectly placed. There's great zip on it. Mike Evans was pretty open, but just the velocity and accuracy required to get that yak. If Mike Evans is wearing a smaller t-shirt, he might have another touchdown. It's okay, ball don't lie. Again, Baker creating, rolling around the pocket to create new throwing angles. Solid throw with a plus pocket movement. And then poetic justice. Yes, Baker does not deserve these yards, nor does he deserve this touchdown on his stat sheet. But he deserved the touchdown to Mike Evans previously, so I guess the ball is telling the truth yet again. And that's basically it. Everything else is, just burning clock. Yet another A-plus game from Baker Mayfield. Accurate on 81.5% of his aimed passes. So that, he had one throwaway. That's not an aimed pass. Why would you grade the accuracy of a throwaway? By definition, a throwaway is pretty accurate anyway. He took one sack. Was not his fault whatsoever. He had two impressive positive runs, one of which was a 20-yarder on third down. And he navigated the pocket like a pro. He didn't fumble. He didn't have any negative runs, but he did have those two interceptable balls. He should have thrown 2 picks, which puts him at 14 for the year, and that's the one weak spot, right? Baker Mayfield's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the entire NFL. He doesn't fumble very much. He doesn't take sacks that he shouldn't very often. He does, however, throw interceptable balls at a very, very slightly higher rate than the average starter, right? 2.9% of his dropbacks end in a pickable ball. That is 14 on the year in 14 games. Granted, it's fewer than Patrick Mahomes has thrown, but it's still too many for my taste. If he can cut down on that, he could be an MVP. He could be a legendary caliber quarterback. Right now, he's just extremely good. The Buccaneers don't throw deep very often, right? He only had the 2 deep attempts in this game, but they were both accurate. And on his 24 deep attempts this season, he's been accurate on 16%, which is 2/3. It's the best in the NFL. They don't throw the deep ball very often in this Liam Cohen offense. It's just not how they're built. They really like throwing the intermediate balls, those 20-yarders rather than the 30 and 40-yarders. And I'm sure missing Mike Evans for a good chunk of the season has brought that deep shot total down. Alas, what more can you say? An elite throw, 3 great throws, 6 solid throws. 37.5% of his dropbacks resulted in impressive plays. Only 15.6% of his dropbacks ended in negative plays, so unimpressive plays, right? Missed throws, bad sacks, what have you. Baker was on fire yet again, and this time against the best defense in the NFL. At this point, it is a little crazy to me that he's not in the MVP conversation. Josh Allen should definitely win it. His team's got the record. Josh Allen is the most impressive. He's the most exciting. But Baker Mayfield's right there with him. He plays a much more boring style of football, which, is like saying is pretty small for an elephant. But Baker Mayfield should absolutely be in that top 3. I think with this game, and it's mostly just due to injury, not his own fault. Justin Herbert's going to have to fall out of that conversation a little bit. But really, it's a 2-horse race for me. I know a lot of people want to put Lamar Jackson in there. Lamar Jackson's having the best season of his life, no doubt. Clearly took a giant step between last year and this year as a quarterback. He's not on this level, though. Never was. Sorry. What do you guys think? Is there anything interesting about Baker Mayfield's season or his performance? Why do you think he's not getting MVP votes? And do you think I'm being too generous somewhere? Because I think I'm pretty harsh, and I don't think there's any holes to poke in this game. All right. Until next time, I got more film to grind. So let me know who you want to see the next video on. And until then, hasta.